There were 5 boys. The weights of 3 of the boys are 140,
Oh yeah,
120, and 100.
There's
Okay.
5 boys though.
The other 2 boys weigh the same. How much do the other 2 boys weigh?
Add all them up and whatever you missing, that's the answer.
Whatever I'm missing from what?
From that weight,
From
with
the
how
total.
much all of them weigh together, the 3.
Okay, these all weigh
Mm-hmm.
360. Okay. How am I going to find what the other 2 boys weigh?
You gotta divide it by 3 and then that's there. Well,
No.
there's only 3 boys right there.
I told you that the
The
average
average is
weight of 5 boys is 160. I knew that here's what they did, same as here. I knew that they divided some number by 5 and got 160. That's the only way they determined that the average was 160 for 5 boys, right? You have to think backwards sometimes. They told us the average, it's 160. They told us it was 5 boys. Since I know that to find an average, you add them all up and divide by how many you added. I know they had to add 5 numbers together, right? Boy 1, boy 2, boy 3. They had to have boy 4 and boy 5. And when they added them all together, it had to come to some number
800.
so that when I divide it by 5, I get 160 up
I
here.
thought I did it wrong though.
So 800 is what it had to total. You follow what I'm saying, Nicole, or not? Okay. I know that when they added these 5 boys' weights, they had to come up with a total of 800.
And then you
Because when they divided by 5,
Yeah.
they got 160. So I know the total had to be 800. So if I know that the 3 of these together is 360,
400.
I need to find out how many more I need to make 800, right?
440.
I need 440. So each boy would have to weigh what if I said they weighed the same?
220.
220 each.
That's some big boys.
Well, you wanted them big. First you said they were too little. Just can't please you. And we can see if what did we say the 3 weights were? 360 altogether.
Plus
And then if we
440.
added 440, we're going to get our 800.
That boys is far off from average.
They're linemen.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You have to, when you are learning these things as average,
Linebackers.
a lot of times they'll say, here's a list of numbers, what's the average of those numbers? But that's easy to do. They're not going to probably give you that as a question. They're going to give you something like this. They're going to tell you, we already know the average. How did we get it? But you know how they got it because you knew that no matter what you have to have in your mind about average is that in order to find an average, you add them all up and divide by how many you added. So you know that that's how they had to find the answer. Or if they said, oh, there were the 2,250 total points, the average has to be 450. How many tests are there? You see. I need to know what number's here. So I know that multiplication is commutative, this times this is this times that, right?
Mhm.
I have to put that 450 out here. And divide that, and I'm gonna come up with my 5 over here.
Go on, Miss Harris.
What'd you do there?
That's tight. She
Yeah.
just.
Oh, okay,
she
I
just
see
walked
what
it
you
around.
did. I
See
see
what
what you
I'm
did.
saying?
Yeah, I see
Man,
what
that's
you did.
tight.
I was like, what's she talking about?
Because
She just swooped it.
if I need to know, if they give me
Yeah, she
the
right.
450 and the 2250, and I'm looking for the 5, then I
That's a
just
shortcut.
divide it by the 450.
Mhm.
If they gave me the 5 and the 2250, I get the 450 here, you see what I
Yeah,
mean?
she just swapped it.
But it's just understanding the whole thing. That's what's really important is not just learning average, add them all up and do this. You have to understand what they're talking about. Waitresses. My daughter was a waitress right out of high school and she had her own place and she had to figure out how much money she needed total to pay her bills for the month. Let's say it was, I don't know, $750. And she knew she was gonna work, let's say 20 days that month. She would do this and know that she had to average $37.50 a day. See, I mean, it wasn't these numbers, but that's how she figured out how much she had to make so that If today she only made 10, she knows that tomorrow or sometimes she's gotta make up that. If she needed 37, she's $27 down. You see what I'm saying? So one day, maybe she'll make 64, and then she'll be $27 up. And so you know that you're not gonna make the same thing every day, but you have to figure out, in order to budget, you gotta know about how much you're gonna make, or you'll come to the end of the month and you won't have enough money. You see what I mean? So that's an instance where you'd have to use that. If you're getting paid different amounts, you still know it's gotta total that, because that's what you need. And you gotta figure out how many days do you have to make that, and then how much you need each day. So that's what we talked about, the GED test. You see, that's why you don't have to get 450 on everything, because it just means that when you add up score 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, when you add it all up and divide by 5, you're gonna have 450 up there. You can do it any combination you want, as long as you don't go below 420, because 420 is passing. You cannot pass. Even if you were to get 800 on everything,